Hello, welcome. I feel like this is the first time we've ever done this because everything's wrong. This is the Five Heart Podcast that's live on YouTube, and we're so grateful that you're here with me. My name is Greg Mahochko. I'm the host, and John was here. We had pre-show banter, and then John disappeared. I don't know if John's coming back. I have a feeling wherever John is, he's laughing at me. So, I feel like we got a lot to talk about this week. And by we, of course, I mean me. Because, again, John is hanging out not in the show. I can see in my screen here, there's little John right here. That's not what that's anyway. Oh, my God, it's John.
Hey.
What happened?
Okay. What do you mean? Well, you didn't hit the live button.
Like I said, I feel like it's the first time we've ever done this. I was all out of sorts because I saw that you dropped off the stream. I was very concerned.
You didn't hit the live button. I hit refresh on my browser. It took me completely out of everything. Who are we? What are we doing? What's all going on?
A little refresher here. Go Big Red, by the way, to Andrew Anderson. This is the Five Heart Podcast live. Exclusively on YouTube.
Exclusively.
Exclusivity is apparently where it's at. You give people social distancing, right? And you really let them explore the space by, big meeting room, very few tickets sold. And then that ticket becomes a commodity. And there's going to be a line next week for more tickets.
Is that how it works? What the hell are you talking about?
I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Okay.
So, how are you, John?
I'm mediocre.
No, I hear you're above average or best.
I mean, at worst. Mediocre. I'm average.
Yeah.
You know what I am?
What's up?
Kind of old man cranky.
You were definitely hitting the angry button before we started. So I'm very excited for this show. We've got a lot to cover tonight. And we're going to save that one, Wade. We've got a lot to cover tonight. And then, of course, all the great comments from the Chatterfields. You know who you are. It's you. If you're watching this live on a Thursday night, you're a Chatterfield. Whether you join in the chat or not, but that's why it's there to engage with us here again live on YouTube. As I say most weeks, unless I forget, which does happen from time to time, we know you have a lot of entertainment options on a Thursday evening, and we appreciate you choosing the Five Heart Podcast. So, hey,
I have an announcement.
Okay,
I know where I'm going to be for the Minnesota-Nebraska game.
Are we going to jump right into that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if people listen to the beginning, they'll know. The Minnesotans for Nebraska is having a gathering at some bar or pub in St. Paul. You'd think I'd have all this stuff together. I will put the link on the Corn Nation article when it goes out, and the link will be in the show notes on YouTube. But they're basically having a gathering at a pub. You can go to the pub. They're going to have music from 3 to 5, and they have shuttle buses going back and forth to the game, which isn't a bad idea because parking over at the U, it's during Thursday, so I don't know what that's going to be like. It can be hell, I can tell you that, because there's still going to be a population of people working. So, maybe getting the shuttle bus over to the thing, and then Baron Von Ratsky is going to be there as well because he is a Nebraska alum, and they're going to have music, and it's going to be fun. So check that out if you're going to the Minnesota-Nebraska game. Yeah, the Clawmaster.
I don't know.
What?
I don't know if I've ever heard him described as the Clawmaster, but yeah, he actually was.
Baron Von Red, the Claw.
Yeah, but I've never heard him called like the Clawmaster. Anyway, he's a former Nebraska football player as well, not just an alum. He was
He told me his life story one time at a Minnesota for Nebraska golf outing.
You told me about that, or you told I think all of us about that.
It's a very, very interesting life story. I mean, it's an amazing life story.
Could you do me a favor? Because I know you're sitting on piles of money there.
Yeah.
what people don't know is that the bed that you see behind John there, where he sometimes takes up his evenings, is actually filled with hundreds. So what I would love for you to do, John, is buy the rights to Baron von Raschke's life story.
Okay.
And then we can make a movie out of it, and it'd be perhaps the very first Corn Nation original film.
Oh my God, that's an excellent idea. Then maybe we could make it a musical.
Yes,
We should move on now.
All right. Let's jump into it. Andrew he was the first one to comment, and he said, "How are you guys doing tonight?" I'm doing great. John is angry, but that's okay because Josh Hansen says that red ass John is good for business.
Okay, all right. Look, there's a new design up in the store. It's a red man killing mastodon shirt. So go get one.
Wait, okay. Hold on.
What?
Where do they go get one, John?
They go get it at cobbycorn.com.
And it's not just the shirt. You can also get a hoodie.
You can get a hoodie.
How many of those? Do they just make those shirts for you, or do you actually have to buy those?
What do you mean?
Like the shirt you're wearing, did you buy that, or did you here's a sample?
No, well, I had to buy a sample.
Damn. I was really hoping that you just give me the hookup there. So be like, it's all right. He's one of us.
This is late stage capitalism, Greg. There's nothing for free anymore.
All right. So Fred Sacco here dropping the knowledge that Baron von Raschke also has a movie or documentary out.
It's not a musical, is it, Fred? You son of a bitch. All right. How about that?
That's terrific. Tyler says, "Yay merch." Tony says, "I loved the AWA." John, you know about the AWA?
I know.
The American Wrestling Association or Alliance.
Was that the Sheik?
I think he did a tour up there, but it was Minnesota based, I believe. Like all the like Hulk Hogan, I think got his start up there. Kurt Hennig. Tell me when I'm mentioning a name that you're familiar with. Rick Rude.
Sorry, you don't look at the comments.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Baron Ronvatsky, who he went early before he became the Baron. He was Jimmy Nebraska from Nebraska. That's how he was introduced. Anyway, we'll talk more about him later.
Okay.
What else? What do we got?
Fred says that we should sell, speaking of merch, at cobbycorn.com, Cobbycorn angry buttons along with FHCSF chastity belts. Former head coach Scott Frost chastity belts. Now, it's my understanding that if you put Scott Frost's face on the chastity belt, it's going to have the opposite effect, allegedly.
I'm not touching that. I'll go look for maybe Etsy. They sell blank chastity belts, and we can put a design on there.
There you go. All right, shall we get to some serious?
Yes, we should get some.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, lots of things to discuss tonight, this week, and we are expecting a special guest. I hope it comes through because I already put him in the write-up or in the stream, so he's already been advertised. But we'll cross that particular bridge when we get there. John,
what?
You mentioned to me, and I think it's been in the. Let's turn the clock back or the calendar back about 5 months, shall we? In March.
5 months. Okay.
In March, I believe at the beginning of spring practice, Matt Rhule said, "We're doing away with single-digit uniform numbers."
Jerseys. Yeah.
Jerseys. And what in the world's going on? This week, they're back. A new tradition, allegedly, that Matt Rhule apparently has utilized at Temple, at Baylor. But what it is, it's these need to be earned. These single-digit, jersey numbers have to be earned. And so the first 4 dropped this week. John, can I tell you who's the recipients of these single digit jersey numbers?
Tell me.
I will tell you. I'm so excited.
Okay.
All right. Senior, we'll do this in numerical order. Maybe not in order of importance. No offense. Senior wide receiver Billy Kemp, the 4th, picked number 1. Safety Isaac Gifford, numero 2. Luke Reimer, I believe he was 24 previously, and now he's going to be wearing number 4. And quarterback Jeff Sims has number 7. So they are. Go ahead.
Are you surprised by anybody on that list?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why.
Why? Who is it?
I've never heard of Billy Kemp the 4th.
He's a receiver.
Well, yeah, I figured that much.
He transferred.
Okay.
Remember Joshua Fleeks came from Baylor? I think Billy Kemp came from Virginia.
Okay. Yeah. He's gonna be. He's one of those undersized slot receivers.
Yeah. He and Sims are transfers. So it's kind of, I guess you kind of look at it and go, well, it's kind of nice transfer guys are being recognized for leadership. And then you kind of go, well, this is a whole new regime. I mean, maybe those guys didn't get infested with I don't give a shitus or shititis. I don't know how that goes, but you know what I mean? A lax culture where now they're being said you have to do X, Y, Z all the time. And, it's kind of a cool. I like this tradition. If this is a tradition, if this is what they're going to do, I'm for it. Because I think it's, you know what it does? It sets up something similar to the old Unity Council.
Mm-hmm.
And what it does is basically say, these are the leaders, these are the guys that, are going to we hope that they have held themselves accountable. And by that measure, they will hold others accountable as well. So they've been also, kind of singled out as, they're the guys. One thing about Luke Reimer, the Butkus Award watch list came out today, and he's not on it. I mean, you got guys, surprising. There's no Nebraska players. I think there's 35. You know how these watch lists work. They have like shit tons of people on them. There are
for clicks, for preseason media clicks. If we had a player on the Bednarik or Butkus or Remington or whatever Doak Walker Award, preseason watch list, then it's all traditionally. This is me just being a little bit cynical. They would include the Nebraska player at that position just to help boost the views on the award. I mean, because we would, we traditionally at Coronation we got to pump that out because we know it's clicks. I mean, we play the game as well as everybody else. So I am surprised. Luke Reimer has had a very stellar career. I think the only thing holding him back is that he's been on shit teams. This is the year that turns around, though, because
it is. It's the year.
God, thank you. We're in the second week of August. John's finally drinking the Kool-Aid and he's guzzling it down. But you cannot be ignored. You will not be ignored when your team goes 15-0 and wins the whole damn thing.
Wait, we have to take the super chat.
We have to? I mean, I thought we'd get to it. I didn't know we'd have to.
No, when they do that, you got to do it right away because he's paying for it.
Sorry.
You know what I mean?
Sorry.
That encourages other people to pay us so I could pay my medical bills and shit. Branson Chab gives us a super Chab. What is the area like around the university? I was reading too far ahead. What is the area like around the University of Minnesota? Walkability, vibes, traffic, and so on. Well, this is kind of weird because it's a Thursday night game, but I mean, it's Huntington Bank Stadium is, I don't know, there's Buffalo Wild Wings or something right next door. I mean, the stadium's fairly, I like the Minnesota games. I think they're fun. I think they do a lot of stuff that makes it fun. I think, like I said earlier, I think that maybe it's not a bad idea to find someplace to get a shuttle bus in there because this is still going to be, a work day for most people and clearing out all the parking lots and getting into the parking lots. I don't know how that's going to work. I actually will ask somebody
Okay.
And I will find out more information as the game gets closer because, I have a relationship with the University of Minnesota.
Sometimes they
Somebody
like
asked,
you, and sometimes they will never let you on the field again.
traffic. Well, again, it's going to be, what time is the game? 7?
I'm on it.
I think it is. Rush hour should be over by then. It shouldn't be too bad. I think it's a nice area. You might see people, just so you are warned, you might see people talk about how Minneapolis is this unsafe city. In Dinkytown, there have been some attacks and stuff. But the stadium is way away from Dinkytown. It's not anywhere near any of the problems are in Minneapolis. And am I saying it's completely safe? No, it's not completely safe. It's an American city, for God's sakes. But it's, you're going to be around a lot of people, and the University of Minnesota has no interest in having anything bad happen there. So I like the stadium. I think it's kind of cool. It's, it's not enormous, but it's pretty nice. Wide open. It's more for being in the middle of the city, Minneapolis, kind of. The campus, I think, is decently green and spread out a little. Did I answer that well enough?
I think so.
Okay.
And I'll say this: if I don't know about shuttle access, things like that, but when I was up in the Twin Cities last year, I became a fan of the rideshare apps. I use Lyft. That's not an endorsement. It's just seemed to be the one that most of my group was using. So that's always an option as well, especially if you're pre-gaming, which we'll get to towards the end of the show. There's a Minnesota for Nebraska gathering. Did we already address that? Or
yeah, we did that.
Yes.
I thought, oh my God, I'm not the only one with early onset dementia.
No, it's I'm multitasking, John. All right.
Okay, good job.
Oh, here we go.
Huh?
Chase. Chase is a Minnesota fan and says,
all right,
as a Minnesota fan, I'm not even remotely scared, which is hilarious because after the game, as a fan of the team, he's going to be emotionally scarred.
Scarred.
Genuinely curious if you guys expect to win and your perspective. Love the channel, guys. Yeah, no, we're going to win. Without
you
a doubt.
go first.
I am. I mean, look, I'm not going to give you the score because we'll do that the night before.
Oh,
but Nebraska will win.
We'll win.
And I'll tell you why. We've got nothing to lose.
We've got nothing to lose.
Thank you.
Yeah, just seconding everything, more emphasis. I think that, Minnesota game is huge. And it's huge because I think it's going to, I've said this before, it's going to set up the season for Nebraska. I mean, we're going to find out way early if our offensive and defensive lines can stand up to a team that's going to be physical.
Mm-hmm.
I'm skeptical of our chances of winning. Greg, I haven't drank that much Kool-Aid.
I guarantee you by Wednesday, the 30th.
Oh, God. We bought 6 tickets. My whole family's going to that game, and here's the thing with my family. They can turn on me. They can turn on me at a moment's notice. They can be like, yeah, you're great, Dad. You suck. And then Nebraska sucks. It's literally like, a very chaotic
I will honest to God say this. Your family's great. The ones that I have met, they're great, but they are fickle as shit.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. That's a hot take. No. So look, we're going to know 1, 2, 3 weeks from now.
3 weeks. Yeah.
My only hope, my real only true hope is the game is not lightninged out, because we all saw what happened 5 years ago.
Nobody has said that yet. Now we're fucked.
Hey, no, wait, I'm not allowed to bring that up. We said we wouldn't talk about it this week, so I'm not going to bring that up. Okay, no, Nebraska, Minnesota, I'm not saying it's going to be a bloodbath, but like one of Daniel Day-Lewis's top movies, there will be blood.
Chase, I think it'll be, you got 3 offensive linemen starters to replace. Mo Ibrahim isn't around. Got a new quarterback that's going to be better than Tanner Morgan. He has one of the best tight ends in the nation to throw to. But your defense, Tyler Nubin, we know is a playmaker, but the defense, I think is, that's the key. We don't really know what Nebraska's offense is going to look like. I mean, we hear things and you can talk about things, but until they get into a game, who the hell knows?
John,
So,
will you read this comment, please?
Which one? Fred Sacco, who is I was going to say he was a genius, but he'll get all big-headed and more insufferable than he already is. Fred Sacco says the only lightning will come from Matt Rhule's ass as he smites the Gophers. God damn it. Wow, Fred. We're getting there. We're getting into August. It's August 10th.
Dion Pryor says, Chase, you're joking. We believe we're going to kick your asses 45-3. Hey, look, Chase. God bless you, man, for being here, for asking the question, for enduring this self-inflicted punishment. We are nothing if not confident, I suppose. And I'm just as guilty. Look, I've been saying for months now, 15-0 national championship. I still don't have the graphic yet. I need to work with my artist. But Fred wants to know, Greg, what am I drinking? I haven't been drinking the last few weeks because honestly, our fridge has been so full that I didn't know I had a cold one back there. I'm still drinking the Yingling that I got almost 2 months ago in Kentucky. So it's still fine. Don't get me wrong. Yingling is top notch beer. But yeah, I'm gonna have to restock here pretty soon.
You haven't been drinking because the fridge is so full.
I didn't know that I had a cold one back there.
Of what? Kool-Aid?
Leftovers.
Jeff? Okay.
We had to do, not we, my wife this morning before I was awake, she did the great, because today was trash day, so she did the great leftover clean out. And then she left the Tupperware containers piled up for me to put in the dishwasher. So I only had to gag a little bit. It's, life gets busy, John. Don't judge me.
Here.
What's up, pup? Are they
she's just like all over the place tonight.
She chewing on any more paper towels though?
No, you know what? I bet that's what she wants. Here.
Yeah.
Here. I don't know why. Can somebody tell me why dogs do this? Look at this. Look at this.
Are there food remnants on there? There's like pizza grease or something?
I don't know if it's not like I feed her 83 paper towels a night, but it's kind of weird. Anyway,
Branson's back with another one that says never underestimate PJ Fleck's ability to adapt.
I don't disagree with that. Wait a minute. Yes, I do. Let's be honest. If we're putting this in Nebraska terms, he really hasn't had to adapt. I mean, that's the problem that we've had against Minnesota. This is where I get ranty, Greg.
They did replace the Tanner Morgan last year.
Okay, well, he got hurt.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. Was it? Do you think it was an actual injury, or do you think it was one of those
he had kind of had some problems before that, and I think they didn't want to take any chances, especially with his head.
I kind of have problems every day, and I still get up and go to work.
You're not being hit by 300-pound guys.
What do you know?
I was starting into a rant, buddy.
Okay, finish.
Put that back up there. Now I forgot what I was ranting about. Oh, PJ Fleck's ability to adapt. He hasn't had to adapt. I mean, think about it. The last times he's played Nebraska under the former guy we fired, where the guy ran the same zone plays like 83 times every game. And we never stopped it. We just let him beat us to death, So if his ability to adapt to Nebraska, number one, I don't know if he knows what we're going to be running and what we're going to be doing. I know that Satterfield has the offensive coordinator of South Carolina. So I mean his tendencies may be on film, but maybe he's come to Nebraska under Matt Rhule. And Matt Rhule says, "Oh, I don't want to see this play ever again. No, I'm running that one. This one you can run 20 times a game." And that's the stuff we're going to find out. But I don't know about PJ Fleck's ability to adapt. He hasn't had to. He's just beat us. He's beat us with a very, I think not even a really difficult game, just run zone, inside, outside, nickel duo. Oh, look, we're going to put in the other quarterback and he's going to run the ball 20 times until the one time he doesn't. And that's, that's standard football stuff when you got a defense that just honestly is kind of confused, and then they're being called soft because their defensive coordinator doesn't want to have any passes go over his head because he was told his offensive coordinator was going to score 40 points a game because he was an offensive genius. God, I am so just ready for this new regime to actually start and stop talking. I love Matt Rhule already, but if we go like 3-9 this year, I'm going to bring up the fact that fucker spent the entire offseason talking to everybody and their dog 4 times. All right. I hope you've been watching the comments because I just been.
I took a little hiatus from that briefly.
What
is it? Am I missing anything?
Yeah. Wait, we got to put this up. John Smith says, when's he going to adapt to Iowa, which is a fair statement because PJ Fleck cannot beat Kirk Ferentz. He's lost. I think he's 0-7 to him, which is pretty terrible.
I totally misunderstood. Yeah, no, for whatever reason, when I read that comment, I thought, and so there's other podcasts out there that say pronouns, pal, but I thought when John said when's he going to adapt to Iowa, I thought the he was you. Like, when are you, John, going to adapt to Iowa? And
look, I'm adapting to Iowa. Deep world. The pork. I'd like to gamble on some of my own games. Bet the under. There you go. I adapted to Iowa. Probably injured myself.
You sound like, honestly, that one sounded painful. Well, we're going to, we'll cycle back, or we'll circle back. We'll talk more about Minnesota. I'm sure more will come up. I'm taking a quick look. We'll address that when we get into another topic. Don't mind me. I'm just reading. So let's go back to the single-digit numbers. Tyler, who we know and remember fondly here at Coronation, said it came out that Ethan Piper was the unofficial 5th player to be a recipient of a single-digit jersey, but as an offensive lineman, he's ineligible to wear a single-digit jersey. Thoughts?
What? Do I have thoughts? I was sending a message to somebody who was supposed to be here. Thoughts about Ethan Piper?
Yeah. About being the unofficial 5th player to be a recipient of the single-digit jersey, but ineligible to because he's an offensive lineman.
Well, I went back and forth on Twitter on this, and what I said is the offensive linemen don't need to wear little single-digit numbers, and that's because offensive linemen are kind of like their own group. Amongst the whole football team, the whole offensive linemen should be in their like own little clique group, and they're like tribal. They're like, you touch that offensive lineman, you have to fight all 15 of them. You know what I mean?
That's fine.
That's how they should be. And they don't need your recognition for your single-digit number shit. That's the skill players. The skill players a little bit like, oh, we want to get the women and we need recognition. The offensive linemen are just like, we're together and we're going to kill you kind of thing.
The linemen are the steak to the specialist sizzle.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say like broccoli side dish.
No. Not in Nebraska. I've lived in Nebraska. There's not a whole lot of broccoli in Nebraska.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Branson Chab says, regarding your, or I should say, PJ, your thoughts on PJ flexibility to adapt. He says, that's entirely fair. By the way, John, did you actually get in trouble the last time you did the video at Minnesota?
I didn't really get in trouble. I just got denied a credential for the following week against, there was a volleyball. I think it was Nebraska, Minnesota volleyball. I sent in to the volleyball SID at Minnesota and said, could I get a credential? And the football SID replied to me and said, you caused a national stir last week and we don't think it would be proper or something along those lines. to give you a credential. I don't think they wanted me on TV. I sent them back. They have Minnesota. Listen, Minnesota has always been very, very nice to me, as has Nebraska. And, I sent them back, and I understand. I apologized if I embarrassed them any, because, again, they were very nice and very professional. And I certainly never thought that thing would explode. I just thought I was going to go do a video on the field and put it up on YouTube. And then somebody, I think from Iowa, said, "What the hell is with this guy?" But it was after that, I kind of thought that was really the last chance for me to get another credential until the next spring. And by that time, honestly, my brain injury, my balance issues started kicking in, and headaches got a lot worse. And really what I learned was I could do a 10-minute video and get a lot of attention, and I could spend 2 days on photos and not really get any attention at all. Which one would you do, Branson? Which one? I enjoy this. I enjoy this a lot more. I love doing photography. I love being on the field. I love talking to people on the field. And some of this stuff was so hilarious.
I've got to stop reacting to the comments when you're talking.
Listen. You're on the field, and Holly Rowe walks by you, and just the drunk screaming at Holly Rowe. And most of them are not rude. They're just screaming her name. But they're like, what? She's going to turn around and see you and want to marry you or something? It's just weird, people's behavior on the field. Our guest says that he thought it was tomorrow night, and his mom is in town, so he's out with his mom. So his mom wins over us, Greg.
You know what? That's fair.
Yeah. We'll have to, you know what? I won't be here next week, so.
And I won't be here the week after.
So you can have him on next week.
I'd be delighted.
Okay.
He's a great man.
Yeah.
I'll have to rewrite the article.
Branson, that's what happened with the video. I mean, security guys, they were clearing the field off, and one of the security guys was responsible for clearing the field. So they have this whole section of the field where nobody was. And I walked over to the security guy, and I said, "Can I go over there and do this video?" Because they weren't even letting the Nebraska media come down from the press box and do their bit on the field. They were clearing the field off. And he said, "Yeah, go over there." And then all these kids started showing up behind me. And it turns out later they were like athletic department employees, kids that were on the field and running around behind me, which I kept trying to get away from them because I was plenty sweary. Anyway.
Well, you used the phrase in your explanation there, which was great, by the way. Everybody knows the video. I don't know if that many people know about, what happened, the fallout, so to speak. But you used a little two-word description there. You said national stir. And Fred says we should have John National Stir Johnston branded coffee stirrers.
Okay, right now I'm only selling like clothing because it's not taxed in Minnesota, and I still have to figure out how to run an online store where, if I sell their stuff, I'm going to have to learn how to run a business better than I do now. I've been writing for like 35 years, and I know how to do that, but the whole online store, do all the things properly, is now the IRS is going to be after me.
What I've heard.
Yes. What you've heard
is that, when you have a business, you never want to show a profit. So at the end of the year, go buy stuff with your proceeds. You have to pay taxes that way.
Like what? What should I buy, Greg?
I had a guy when I was selling cars back in the day. I had a guy come in. He was a business owner, had like a lawn and landscape. Anyway, he bought a new truck, $60,000 truck, because he didn't want to show profit.
Oh my God.
I was like, that's a good business.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Well, let's move on. We have starred several comments. We will address them. Oh God, nope, not going to read. Not doing it, Fred. If you want to know why I'm not addressing Fred's comment, look for the comments yourself.
Yeah.
Well, we were going to talk about this with our special guest, as John stated. He's got family in town. He thought it was tomorrow night. It's all good. He reached out to me and apologized. We'll get him on the show down the road. But this week, season tickets landed in season ticket holders' mailboxes. which I believe, John, is not so much a change, but a return to physical tickets, where I think they took a year or two off of physical tickets, and I know that was much maligned. So here's what, if you were so fortunate to have tickets, what they might look like for your season tickets for our beloved Nebraska Cornhuskers at Nebraska Memorial Stadium this fall.
You know what this is, Greg?
What is
you know what
John?
this is? Ticket porn. That's what it is.
Well, let me tell you. Let me get a close up then, John.
You see how it's all blacked out so you can't identify what the ticket actually is?
So what you can do, though, if you have one of these tickets and you can see some of these memorial moments, is you scan those QR codes and it will take you to a video that replays that highlight. So the ones we're seeing here on the screen are Alex Henry's school record 57-yard field goal, paired up with Ndamukong Suh's pick 6 against Colorado. We have the memorial moment, the Black 41 flash reverse, of course, Eric Crouch there, and others. I mean, look, you can't, unless they're putting different moments on everybody. So there's a finite number of home games. Unless they're putting different moments on everybody's tickets, you're never going to get to them all, right? But this is a fun little addition, I think, and it's, again, a return to having that physical, tangible piece. Because especially now where they're not, they're scanning, barcodes, and they're not ripping off stubs. You can take it back, you can frame it, you can do whatever the hell you want with it as a little keepsake of the day. So very nice.
I think that's kind of cool. I mean, I don't have a horrible problem with the digital ticket, but the honest to God truth is, having a memento that you went to some of these games, especially since the 100-year anniversary of Memorial Stadium, it's kind of cool to show that stuff off. I mean, I have a whole drawer full of credentials, that my wife and family got sick of me hanging in the room where the TV was. So they're all in a drawer somewhere. But, you have a memento and you can go, I remember that game. I was kicked out. Anyway. No, it's really neat. I think it's a nice gesture. You know what this is?
What is this, John?
You know what? This is Trev Alberts paying attention to the details and doing things to make sure his fan base is taken care of. That guy, when he was hired, I did a video that was really just very angry, which that's shocking, about him being hired and how he shouldn't have hired a guy that had Nebraska roots. Boy, what a dipshit was I. I should pull that video out from 2 years ago and react to myself being an idiot. But
you should. Other YouTube channels are getting more hits on their videos by revisiting videos of the past.
Are they?
Yes. The channel that comes to mind, and look, I'll endorse this channel. They're not paid, but I've gotten so much enjoyment over the years of watching. It's a comedian by the name of Ryan George. I believe he works at Screen Rant, and he has this YouTube channel called Pitch Meeting, where he plays two roles.
Okay.
Yeah, he plays producer guy and screenwriter guy, and screenwriter pitches the movie, and but it's great. But he's gone back to some of these other movies, and he's revisited them, and he's kind of critiqued himself, done follow-ups. You can do the same thing, John, and you'll just make all the money.
All right. I could do that. I'm going to have to do something here. Yeah, it's a nice gesture. I was looking at the comments again.
No, don't do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Fred, look, I'm not going to read the first part, but he asks if they have the punt to the wrong side of the field against Michigan State. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that
wasn't that
was in Michigan
Lansing.
State. Yeah. So the other part, I don't know. I didn't read the first half of that comment.
These are moments. Those are moments in Memorial Stadium, Fred. For God's sake, what the
all right?
Is wrong with
is it? I feel bad. It's memorable. It's a highlight, but it's also McNeese State. You think they'd have Amir Abdullah's run that sealed the game?
I don't think so.
No. Oh, by the way, Fred also. No, where did you move on? James Marshall says that he bought tickets to go watch the Huskers play in Champaign on Friday night, October 6th. If the Minnesota game doesn't answer the questions about this Husker squad, He says the Illinois game will.
I think he's correct. Yeah.
And I don't think I'll be at that game. At least I don't have any tickets right now. But it's Illinois, which is as close to anything that I'll be able to see in Nebraska. Let me just put it this way: the people that I would get the invite to go watch the game with, they haven't said anything to me, so that might be a me thing. I don't. But very excited for these new tickets. And again, the little additions that they've done, the little digital extras on top of the tangible tickets, I think is Trev Albert's little way of saying mea culpa for going digital only last year. So, yep.
It could be his just saying, we recognize you. Let's face it. I mean, everybody says, oh, the sellout streak is fake. The fuck, you know what? If you're one of those people, I just want to say, kiss my ass. Okay? The fact that Nebraskans even show up for how shitty we've been over the last 5 years is one of the most amazing things in sports. So, the whole sellout, the sellout streak isn't real. Well, okay. Neither of those people on that plane, apparently. But again, Nebraska fans are the best fans in the world. There you go. There's my pandering suck up statement. We are. We're just incredible.
I mean, you're not going to find any arguments from me, John.
I don't think Colorado fans do that.
Well, okay. Well, hey, you brought it up. All right, let's go. Let's go there.
What? Oh, hey, look at that. Speak of the devil.
Our squad versus yours, no passing zone. What appear to be the 12 and 13-year-olds who make up the Colorado secondary, I suppose.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I see some skinny legs. I see some short people. And you get those marshmallow helmets on. You add 3 or 4 inches. The camera adds 10 pounds. These kids look like they're 110 pounds soaking wet.
I keep wondering if Colorado is purposely putting out like fake videos. They had
ridiculous
a video.
Things.
Yeah, they had a video out of one of their practices, and it literally looked like a high school team that was trying to learn how to play football. I mean, these guys, where the hell are they? Are they like in somebody's backyard?
They're in the back of the housing complex, it looks like.
It's just weird. Maybe Colorado's in that bad a shape. I don't know.
There's a great reference here. I gotta hit it. That sounded bad. I apologize. Fred's gonna say something wildly inappropriate. Please work. Damn it! All right.
What happened?
Some of you younger. Well, I'm trying to find a particular photo that Fred hearkened to. He made a reference because these helmets are ridiculous, right? I mean, can we admit that? Look.
They're called Guardian helmets. They're supposed to help with concussions and hits and stuff.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But at the same time, they do also look a little ridiculous, do they not?
Yeah, they do look kind of silly.
And Fred,
I think they should play a game with them.
Yeah, let's go. But Fred made a very poignant, although perhaps dated, observation. He says they look like the Great Gazoo. For those of you who are too young to know, back in the 60s, there were a couple of cartoons, Hanna-Barbera cartoons. One was set in Stone Age time. That was the Flintstones. They've had a couple live-action movies. One of them starred John Goodman, so you might be familiar with that. But the other one took place in the future, and that was called The Jetsons. Actually, I think it was like 2015 it took place or something. I mean, we're past it. But this is the Great Gazoo. And I think Fred's right.
Yeah. What a bizarre thing. I mean, the Great Gazoo existed.
Well, it was a different time, John.
Yeah. But, I was there, kind of.
The question is, how much of it do you remember?
Bits and pieces here and there.
All right. Are we moving on?
What? Okay.
We're going to say this. It's great. Roger Moore says Nebraska will mop the field with Colorado.
If they could beat Minnesota and they Colorado, they can go 4-0 into that game with Michigan. Oh God.
What was that? Why did you slurp your cup so much?
That's good Kool-Aid.
Yes. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's happening. The moment you've been waiting for all off season.
What?
John's drinking it up.
I've been spending more time on Twitter in the last few days, and I can tell you this: the way that Twitter is with Nebraska and everything, I can guarantee you that if we start winning games, I am going to be even more insufferable son of a bitch than I am now.
All right, I'm very hesitant to show this.
You have your next topic.
I do, but I'm very hesitant to show this comment. I really want to show this comment.
Are we going to go to jail for it?
No, but it's a Fred comment, so it's borderline. All right. Fred says, and now it's in Boulder waiting for Deion's foot to enter the portal. Okay.
Okay.
Next, we actually had a comment regarding those helmets. Way back when, 43 minutes ago, Wade Farr says, is Nebraska not being safe by not using those soft turtle marshmallow helmets for practice?
You know what? As the guy that lives with a brain injury, there's a lot of arguments about. I know a bunch of people who have very, very difficult life with brain injury, and we constantly argue about whether or not football should even exist anymore. And I think a lot of them would have the position that those helmets are going to do nothing to protect from the subconcussions hits that people get all the time, but they make people feel better about it. So I'm skeptical of them. I know that they say they're supposed to help, but we know so little about brains or CTE or degenerative diseases compared to other parts of our bodies that everything that we do know, I think, is in the guessing stage. There you go. That was my actually serious answer for the night. You get one.
James says that if it takes a marshmallow helmet to keep football alive, then I'm all for it.
Well, that is a good point.
So, whatever we got to do. Real quick, Steve, again, I have more star comments. This is definitely, all right. Since this was just made, Roger just made the comment, no knee braces, no marshmallows. We harken back to Wade's comment from 44 minutes ago. That says, why do so many Nebraska football players hurt their knees? Parenthetical, Noonan. More knee braces, less of everything else, right?
Well, I think first of all, you got guys that are huge. All right. When I was in high school, I think I weighed 165 pounds, and I played offensive guard, and I constantly blocked people that were like 50, 60 pounds heavier than me. But that's not 300 pounds. Now you see kids constantly coming out of high school, and they're 300 pounders. I don't know. The human body hasn't evolved to the point that, it's supposed to just be magically able to keep up with that. So I think you just have more mass. It's physics, more mass, more velocity, more momentum. And because of that, more injuries. I don't think it's anything necessarily that our strength and conditioning, people that know more about strength and conditioning could say one way or another, but I think knees are particularly a fragile part of the human body. It's kind of like ankles on some of those huge guys, big, huge guys constantly injuring their ankles. Well, they're, it's kind of like horses, just giant bodies on this little tiny. What was that? What does that look for?
No, I'm just trying to the horse comparison.
Have you ever looked at a horse? I mean, you have an enormous body on extremely small legs, and they're extremely small bones. Yeah, but there's still four of them. But if one of them breaks, that's why they used to put down horses if they broke their legs, no matter what, because there was no way for them to recover because of the size. We don't do that to people anymore, so
not in America most of the time. Well, I want to. We're talking about the evolution of uniforms and protection and things like that. It reminds me of a late 90s sci-fi movie, because this is where it's heading. I really do think they're going to make the game safer by making the pads smaller.
What?
Anybody remember Starship Troopers? They're not even wearing. They're wearing hockey helmets, no face masks, and they're barely wearing any pads at all. And it's co-ed. I'm just saying, it's a hell of a reference, and I apologize for taking the time.
I need to go back and watch that movie.
It's fun.
It is a fun movie.
I'll tell you what. If you, as a reminder to everybody out there, if you haven't watched it in a while, there's more boobs in there than you might remember. I'm just saying.
Okay, then.
Don't watch it with the kids.
We still got time before football season.
Yeah. All right. Next topic. Thank you for keeping me on track, kind of.
Yeah.
All right. Does everybody remember this guy? Who is
Tristan
that guy?
Gebbia.
Tristan Gebbia.
Gebbia.
Whatever.
Okay.
I'm not sure it matters. He's not here anymore, but where he is after an 18-year run at Oregon State, now he's been named the starter at Ohio State.
He is not. Did he really? I saw that today, and I thought it was a joke.
Ryan Day he named him the starter. I think they have a couple of 5-star guys who are out. So he's been named the starter for now. Look, this guy is as old as Kenny Pickett, and you know, like he's not next level. I'll say it right now. I know that sounds harsh, but you always wonder what could have been if he would have, I guess, maybe been given a better, more fair shake. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
because he was at Calabrasca connection.
Yeah. I don't know what we've been doing either. We have a future in front of us.
We do. Let's not look to the past.
No.
Let's look to the future.
Look to the future.
I'm not going to read that, Josh. Sorry. Not Josh's most recent one, but one up. All right. Let's move on to the report that came out earlier today. This is why we do this on Thursday. We catch a lot of late reports. This came out from radio stations KXNO, 1460 AM and 106.3 FM. I don't know where they are. I didn't do that much research. Just broke on Miller and Condon. The Big Ten football championship game will be played at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas in the near future. Won't be a permanent move away from Indy, but at least a couple of Vegas title games are coming. I've also seen, like it might be a good spot to have, like reincorporate the Rose Bowl a little bit. But John, your take on this Indianapolis fixture that is the Big Ten football championship game being moved all the way out to Las Vegas.
Well, just let me start by saying that I'd hate it if Mike Miller condom broke in the middle of things. But playing games at I'm not a big Las Vegas guy. I don't gamble on anything but myself, and on myself I gamble a lot and win. But I honestly, the last time I was in a casino, there was all these ringing bells and shit. And I look at these slot machines and I go, I don't even know how this works. And there's cigarette smoke in the air. And I'm like, what the hell did I transport back to 1976? This sucks. Yep. But I just, I'm not a betting guy on anything but myself. That's not a lie. But I guess people would be excited on going to Vegas. There's shows. You could go see Carrot Top. That would probably be one of the top shows you'd want to see, right?
Personally speaking, not so much. But again, that's just me.
I did see somebody else later say, no, this isn't correct. Nobody's ever said this. And your broken Miller condom is wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me just say.
Let's say.
The possibility, look, if it happens, I'm not horribly against it. I'll tell you why. There's a small Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas. There's a small airport closer to my house than St. Louis, which is also very close, that flies direct to Las Vegas and fairly cheap. So if it happens, and Nebraska happens to be playing there,
I would find it hard to believe that it's true because, the Big Ten likes to keep its moral superiority. We're morally superior to everybody, and we protect the student athletes. And now there's all these gambling problems at Iowa and Iowa State. By the way, Iowa State lost their leading rusher or something for investigations. Iowa State's getting hammered by this gambling stuff. So I would find it hard to believe they'd just go play at Vegas for the Big Ten championship.
I like this comment by James Marshall, just came through, says, if a team west of the Rockies or east of the Appalachians wins the Big Ten, then nobody won the Big Ten. That's good.
Very good.
That's a geography joke for y'all.
Wait, Branson got us another super chat.
Oh, crap. Sorry, Branson. We got you.
The rest of you guys are supposed to get the example and, buy us coffee or something.
Yeah. Branson says Ryan Day will never amount to Urban Meyer. As someone who does, and always will hate Ohio State, I'm fine with that.
That's a pretty tall amount to, you know what I mean? I realize Ohio State's expectations are way up there, but that's a really hard thing to achieve. I mean, whatever you think of Urban Meyer, the guy was a very successful coach. And let's face it, 2024, the whole world changes. And It will be extremely difficult for any coach to ever live up to any other coach of the past. There will never be another Tom Osborne, just because Tom Osborne will have never have played this level of competition. You could go back to, what is it, Game of the Century, 1971, and look at the teams he played that were ranked in the top 5 and top 10. That's 1 year, not 25 years. And now we're going to be playing teams that were.
I'll highlight it. You finish your thought.
No, I think it's just going to be, we are going to have to just change what we believe is success for our football teams. Okay, go on.
So you said it's the super comments or super chat. Fred says, I bought 4 shirts and I'm on the wait list for Cobby Corn Hemorrhoid Donuts. John, I'm trying. And then Wade not just asks, but asks in all caps, tell us where this cash goes to and what it does for us.
Well, if we can grow this, I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you, it's not going to me, Wade.
No, it's not. No, it's
all right.
Not. That's true.
I'm on my own for my beer money. All right.
That's true. If we can grow this enough, what it would do for me is allow us to bring on more people, and it would allow me to hire somebody to edit videos so that you don't have to deal with my crappy editing. And honestly, then I could start paying Greg. And by the way, is our podcast back in order?
Yes and no. So a little, I guess. Yeah, we'll pull the curtain. And we're not pulling. We're yanking the curtain off. We were asked nicely by SB Nation / Fox Media back in April or May to stop using Megaphone as the hosting service for our podcast, and I was going to be compliant with that, but then I was still able to upload episodes to Megaphone. So it wasn't until a few weeks ago that's like, no, we really need you to stop. And so I, earlier this week, worked to migrate the podcast from Megaphone to Podbean. And I was trying to upload this past Monday Night Therapy with John and Todd. By the way, I miss Todd. I haven't talked to him in months. And it said, oh, you have exceeded your uploading content limit for the month. I was like, bullshit. It's the 8th of the month. We need to figure this out, and we need to do it now. So that's where we're at.
I'm going to highlight something real quick.
Okay, please do.
Okay, Tyler Weisler, who used to write for us, says, you could hire me back, John. If that's a real comment, you need to send me an email.
Yeah.
Okay, Tyler? Yeah, send me an email. All right, move on. Wade Forrest says, is this tax deductible?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Sure.
Is it?
No.
No.
I don't think we're not a 501c3.
Well, yeah, but could we be? I mean, if I declared myself a religion.
I was just going to say, you could declare yourself homeless. You're halfway there. Get a haircut, you hippie.
What? Hippie?
Um, Roger says that we're still recovering from Todd yelling at us the last show.
God, he's a better ranter than I am.
All right.
Okay.
Hey, we still have more topics, John. Can
Okay.
you believe it? We're not done yet.
I gotta do something.
Oh shit. Oh yeah, I need to turn my fan on too, but then I'd stand up and everybody could see just how fat I am, and I'm way too self-conscious about that. So
it's the hot air in this room that it's coming out of my mouth. I think you can't hear the fan, can you?
No.
Okay, good.
No, you sound gosh darn delightful. So we talked about Allegiant Stadium allegedly, possibly, reportedly, maybe someday down the road hosting a Big Ten football championship game. But this list came out on the Big Ten X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it earlier today. And this is Adam Brenneman's must-visit Big Ten football stadiums in 2024. Don't jump ahead of me. It's all right there. Everybody can see it. But I do think it's funny that 4 of the 10 are the new Pac-12 move over teams. So you have UCLA Rose Bowl being number 10, Camp Randall Stadium's number 9, Autzen Stadium at Oregon's number 8, Ohio Stadium, the Horseshoe, number 7, LA Memorial Coliseum, number 6. The Big House is number 5. Kinnick Stadium in Iowa, for some reason, is in there at all. Is number 4. Husky Stadium in Washington, Beaver Stadium in Penn State, and number 1. I don't know if he did this for the likes, for the clicks, for the retweets, for the whatever. Maybe he's full of shit, but maybe he really does have a heart of gold. A 5 heart of gold, if you will. And that's Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska. The number 1 must-visit Big Ten football stadium in 2024. What do you think about that, John?
I think it's neat. I mean, let's be honest. You go to Memorial Stadium and you know that there's going to be people there. You know what I mean? There's going to be fans and they're going to be excited. Even if we're not that great, they're still going to have some level of fun, because it's a good social event. Let's see. I've been to Camp Randall. I enjoyed that. Kinnick,
Mm-hmm.
I was there for the Iowa State game with Todd.
Can I ask?
Actually, yeah.
I don't want to interrupt you, but do you think the draw, if you will, to Kinnick Stadium is just to turn and wave at University of Iowa Children's?
It's a.
I mean,
it's an okay. I don't think it's like, oh my God, you got to get to Kinnick.
Right. But I mean, it's a nice, and I'm not trying to diminish or minimize that. That's a cool thing. And I shit on it at the beginning. But look, I've got a 5 heart of gold. And I, it's cool. Give the kids a little love. But if that's the only thing, maybe it doesn't need to be on the top 10. And then is Beaver Stadium, is it just for like their specific whiteout games? I mean, there's so many.
Yeah, I would love that.
There's so many. I don't want to say like, I don't know. I was honestly surprised that Nebraska was at number 1. And that's as a Husker fan.
Like I said, you're always going to have like a sellout crowd there, and it's always going to be fun. I mean, it can be miserable if the game's there, but people are still going to be, they're going to be into it. They're going to be fans. And, Husky Stadium, I would love to go to Husky Stadium. My understanding is it's extremely loud. I remember when we played there in 1992, the crowd noise was so bad that the referees lost control of the game, and it was a Nebraska loss. But I remember, Joe Freilich, one of their touchdown passes wasn't even a reception, and it was called a touchdown, and it was absolutely fucking awful. And it was because
Tom Osborne didn't throw the red challenge flag?
No, I don't think they had that then, nor did they have any kind of replay. I remember we were at a bar in Minneapolis, and we all just tried not to burn the place down.
Couldn't he like rip off a piece of his like red slacks and throw that on the field?
If he wanted to be tossed. You just accepted the way things were, Greg. Nobody complained.
It was a better time.
Generation. Yeah, it was a better time. you got screwed, and you just got angry about it and drank a lot.
You ate that shit sandwich with a smile on your face.
Well, not even that. More like a grimace smile.
A grimace is purple, not brown.
Put that back up there.
Oh, okay, fine. God dang.
I would like to go to Autzen Stadium too, and
the problem.
And Michigan.
The problem with going to Autzen Stadium is more than likely you have to fly into Portland, and I really, really don't want to be anywhere near Portland.
I think I'm going to fly into Portland this winter.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. Why?
Because to see my,
All right, here's what you need to do. Now, I'm serious when I say this. Half partially serious. You need to get a prescription of Adderall, and then like when the crazy zombie people of Portland start running at you, you like throw, like go as distractions to throw them in the street, and they go. Nom, 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 nom.
Oh my God. No, I have a niece in Oregon, and she said, "Yeah, you can fly into Portland." And
I'm sure she's downright delightful.
And there way I can go there and commit crimes, and I haven't done that for a while.
The Purge is 24/7. The Purge in Portland, Oregon. All right, can I hide this now?
Yes.
All right, I have one more topic, John. We're an hour 5 minutes. We still have topics.
France is still doing the super chat thing.
All right, here it is. What has been your worst away game experience? John? I'm going to let you answer that question. All my games
probably Madison. Mostly, I mean, the 409-yard games, I have never really had problems with fans. I don't confront people a lot. I'm normally more jovial than anything. And if people try to insult me, I just kind of like, I blow it off. When the Wisconsin fans walk up to you and they say, fuck Nebraska, I say, fuck Wisconsin back to them, and everybody's fine, but I think the Madison experience was terrible because we got our ass kicked and I wanted people to abuse me walking out of the stadium. I wanted the fucking Madison, the Bucky fans to abuse me, and they wouldn't. They felt sorry for us, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. That's the one I can think of. Worst away game experience was the 1992 Iowa State game in which I was thrown out for having a beer in my hand by a police officer who told me if I came back into the stadium, I was going to go to jail. And then later on, I didn't leave. I went down to the end zone, stood in there with some really drunk Iowa State fans. And I think that game was Tom Osborne's only loss to an unranked team. And then I helped them tear down the goalposts as we ran on the field. And as I ran on the field with them, and I was instructing them to get the goalpost out of the stadium to get it out so the police didn't take it away from him, I ran into the police officer, and he glared at me, and I kept trying to get I had my camera, and I kept trying to get his picture in the frame. And he kept moving. And then he looked at me, and he was like, you're going to jail. He gave me that look. I get that a lot. And then I pointed at my camera, and he goes, what are you doing down here? And I said, I'm, just taking pictures of the great win by Iowa State and blah, blah, blah. I bullshitted my way out of it. But the reason why this is the worst game to experience is because if I ever bring this up, it's one of those things where my wife was sitting next to me, and she was like several months pregnant. And she still gets pissed off to this day. If I bring it up, she still gets pissed off to this day. If she heard me right now, she'd be fucking pissed for 3 days. Because I left her alone in the stadium. Well, my brother and my brother-in-law, my sister and my brother-in-law were there next to me. But yeah, that was an experience. Here's the thing. I stood up with a beer can in my hand, and I went like field goal because our kicker just kicked the ball through the uprights on a kickoff. And I literally had just watched an Iowa State student throw an empty whiskey bottle at their band. And the woman the woman 2 or 3 seats away from me we were sitting in the front row, and she had her legs crossed, and she had this Bartles and James glass wine cooler in her hand like this. And I stood up with a beer in my hand, and he goes, you and your beer out of this game. And then I start arguing with him, and Todd Wolverton was there. Maybe it was Todd was there. Todd and Tammy were there instead of my sister. Yeah, I think that was it. See, I don't ask about this because I just get in trouble. This is a real memory. Wade, this is a real memory because I wrote about this over the years. I've written about this, but he comes at me and he says, you and your beer are at this. I'm like, me and my beer. It's not like I'm the only person here with alcohol. And he goes, you're the only one I saw. And I thought, you fucking prick. And I didn't say you fucking prick because I thought that's a straight job to go to jail immediately, be slammed on the ground by this motherfucker. But I'm arguing that with him out of it as he's walking toward me and I'm walking back. Todd's pushing me. Boy, thanks for that memory there, Branson. I probably just go to hell now.
Two things. Wade says so John's family doesn't watch the show.
Well, my wife doesn't because she's like, you swear too much. She's a very nice person.
She is. She's sweet.
I don't think they do. Nobody mentions it. Nobody ever says anything to me. So, no.
And Roger says, would an away game with Todd count as one of the worst?
Wow. I'm going to bring that up.
And then Fred says,
wait, I need to leave that up there. Put that back up there.
Oh, all right, hold on.
I need to get a screenshot of that.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Okay, thank you.
All right. And Fred says, not all heroes wear capes, John.
Yeah. Okay.
Wade says Branson got his $4.99 worth. Terrific.
I guess.
All right, so it's well documented on this show on past podcasts that my Husker in-person experiences have been limited. I'm not a Nebraska native, and Nebraska never came to Illinois until I didn't see him until 2015. Saw them I saw Nebraska play at UCLA at the Rose Bowl back in September of 2012. Hard to believe that's the last vacation I had with my wife. We went on a string of like 10 years before we actually went on another vacation. And then we had kids in it. Not to say it wasn't as fun. It was just different kind of fun.
Right.
I digress. And UCLA, we lost that game in 2012. That's shocker. But it was tough to argue with the backdrop. And the Rose Bowl for what it was it was a fun experience. Again, got to meet up with some great people. Some people that I only knew through Twitter, and then some other good friends for that trip. I've seen Nebraska at Illinois twice. Here's a fun fact. Before the Twins came along, my wife and COVID, my wife and I were kicking around the idea of going and seeing Nebraska, Illinois in Ireland. Of course, that game didn't happen. Right. Then it was Northwestern last year. We all know what happened there. We're not going to go back into that. But both of my trips to Illinois have been pleasant. Let's see. I don't know if I still have the picture up in here. Yeah. So I'm going to spill the tea here. Our guest tonight was supposed to be the one and only legend of internet and YouTube, Mr. Brett Baker. I've known Brett for over a decade. We used to podcast on another Husker site that is now defunct. But that's, I met Brett about the same time I met Brian Toll, whom we all love and miss dearly. Yeah. And so Brett was in Aaron Sorensen, to name drop, was another in that group over there. That was my first foray into Nebraska podcasting. I don't even remember how I got into that because I'm, just a guy in Illinois. But I met Brett online, and in 2015, I met Brett in person when he and his daughter Jessica came, and that's me on the left, obviously. My wife there in the black hoodie, she was pregnant with our oldest son at the time. And gave birth to him about 3 months later. So got to meet them in Champaign. So the joke around my circle of friends, probably why I'm not invited to this year's Nebraska-Illinois game in Champaign, is because 2 tailgate parties in a row. It was 2015, and then the Friday night game in 2017, I inadvertently kicked over the grill at the tailgate. So I would say that self-inflicted worst road game experience was, it became the butt of the joke. And what?
Did you burn shit down?
No, it was like one of those little. It'd be like tailgate grills that's only about a little Weber that's only about yay big around, but it's also no higher than my shin, and I tripped over it. They weren't worried about me. It was, oh, we got to pick up the brat that fell on the grass or whatever. I'm like, it's a brat. You're at a tailgate. Have another beer and eat the brat. But it's still. I'm not saying it's a point of contention. I'm just saying it gets brought up every year. So,
it does. Okay.
In the stadium was pleasant, except in 2015 we lost. We won the Friday night game in 2017. That was fun. So,
well, here's the thing about this upcoming Minnesota game.
Y'all.
Well, I will be in the stands with my family during the infamous video event. My family was at that game, and apparently my oldest son was rather intoxicated. And the Minnesota fans got really upset with my family because they had on both Minnesota and Nebraska gear, and they just switched sides to whoever was winning. And it's going to be interesting for me to be in the stands with my own family and, to see if we don't kill each other or something. Okay.
I'm just now getting caught up on the comments. And
Greg, the grill kicker. That's what I would call you.
That seems dirty. So we have Roger says, can we all pitch in and buy buy a game for Greg? And I'm no charity case. I'll survive. Fred says every day working with John has to feel like a vacation from sanity.
I yell a lot at people.
Wade says, is it legal to have someone not from Nebraska do a show about Nebraska? And then thanks, friend of the show, Josh, and friend of mine, a long time, says he lived with me in Nebraska for a few years, so he's good. I don't know if that's street cred, but yeah. I'll take what I look. And then Wade's follow up is like, is that legal? Real quick, Wade, I'll tell you the story briefly. I was 21. I moved from Southern Illinois to Chadron, Nebraska to start my radio career. Stereo AM 610 KCSR, voice of the Chadron Cardinals. Lived by myself for a year in an apartment that was a house that was converted into 3 different apartments. It's a college town, of course, Chadron State College, Danny Woodhead, etc. Lived by myself. I remember rent was $250 a month up there. After that, I moved in with a coworker for 2 years, just, kind of cut costs down. And then after that, moved in with Josh, and it was a house on Pine Street. We called it the Pine Street Palace. It was Josh. It was about 6 of us total in a double wide. Had my own room. Door was locked. I mean, Josh is a good guy, but he's, you got to wonder about some of the others. All in all, it was a good time.
Yes, it was a good time.
Yep. Sarah McLaughlin says, or Fred Sacco says, Sarah McLaughlin needs to sing a song in the background for a buy a game for Greg commercial. And Roger says, that's what I call an onside grill. So good time. All right. I don't think we have anything else topic wise that I
see this.
No.
See that? See it?
What is that, John?
It's part of
your
my
chair
office
falling apart.
Chair. See, yes, it is. See there, I need a new office chair.
All right, yeah. Let's worry about John and his royal ass before we worry about me. Actually, we do actually have one more topic, John. If you think we have time for
what? Well, we always. What the hell? We're doing good tonight.
Okay. This came out earlier. Whoop. Let me hide that comment. Sorry, Fred. Or Roger. I mean, giving you extra. Chip Kelly, in all this conference realignment, Chip Kelly says that Notre Dame is an independent in football, but they're in a conference for everything else. Why aren't we all independent for football? Take the 64 teams in Power 5 and make that one division. Take the 64 teams in Group of 5, make that another division. We play for a championship. They play for a championship. No one else gets affected. Our sport is different than everybody else. We only play once a week. Travel's not a big deal for football, but it is a big deal for other sports. That came from a quote from the Bald-Faced Truth. I'll try to give credit where I can. John, your thoughts on...
My thought is this. This is where we're realistically going to go, but you have to make that journey.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, I did the history videos. I'm really slow on the history videos because, work's been hell lately. Anyway, whatever. But in the original, it took them from 1869 to 1910 to come up with a game of football that is the modern game of football that we all know and love. And God knows they've had rules changes since then. But think of the decades of evolution that it took for football to become the game that everybody loves. And they didn't make drastic changes. Why? Because there were a lot of people making tons of money and having success. So they didn't want to change it all at once. This is probably where we all probably look at this and go, yeah, that's where we're going. We can't do it like next year, though. Maybe in 10 years, we'll do this. And everybody will go, that's kind of cool. But you can't just do it like tomorrow. And the reason why you can't do it tomorrow is that it's enormous change. And business people hate drastic change unless they're innovators. See what I mean? Small companies innovate. They do disruptive change. Big companies want regulations to keep innovation down so there's no change. And this is college football, and it's way up here. And the people up here, they're like, could you change it? I'm going to retire in 2 years, and then you can do it.
Yeah.
That's who is in charge, for God's sake. And by the way, 2024 is going to be an incredibly huge change in the history of football. A 12-team playoff, maybe more at this point. We don't know. They might change it. And then all the conference changes. I mean, it's going to be huge. Huge. Whatever the guy says. Okay.
Terrible says, I remember the Missouri coach said something similar. That's right. Eli Drinkwitz did make very similar comments about where it's heading. Josh says 64 teams split into geographic divisions. We get CU, OU, Kansas State. Wait a minute. That looks familiar.
I mean,
if it's going to go that way, like it might, are you trying to purposely sound like you're interrupting me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If it goes that way, then you have to keep the top performers in the group of 5 engaged. You have to give them something to work for. And that's where we borrow something from Premier League soccer or football, and we do relegation and promotion. If you're a top 5 team in the group of 5 and you're a bottom 5 team in Power 5, y'all switch places. Like the worst performers out, the best performers in.
I think I'm going to do a short video commenting on that because I have more thoughts on it. You know what?
I can't wait for you to give me all the monetization that's earned for that, because it's my idea that you're picking back off of.
Okay. It's probably be like $10 or $12 or something.
You know how many beers that can buy, John?
2.
No, I don't
know. I don't drink anymore. I don't.
Whose fault is that, John? Whose fault is that?
It's mine. Anyway, I was going to say something relevant. What was it? Oh, you know what? It's going to be easier to make that move that Chip Kelly represents after we've ripped apart all the rivalries. So that's what this stage of football is for, is ripping apart all the rivalries. And everybody goes, college football is ruined. No, I'm not. I get it. I get that people understand that. I've seen Deion Pryor's comments to my short I did today about college football being ruined. I don't think it's ruined. I think we're still going to love it. I think it's just going to be an enormous change. I know there's a lot of people that are going to be disaffected by it, but especially those that get left behind. But it will evolve into something else. It'll just take a few years for that to happen. Probably a long time, because of the ACC. What dipshit conference does a contract until 2036? The ACC. Yeah. What fucking moron negotiated that?
That
really honestly shows you how much better the Big Ten is run than some of those other conferences.
Let me ask you this. What contract is worse? That particular, I don't know, media rights, that particular deal, or the Mets Bobby Bonilla deal?
Okay.
Do you know about that?
I don't know anything about. No, I don't follow Major League Baseball.
Really? All right, let me give you the quick end. This is from July 1st, as has happened for over 20 years, and despite being retired for over 20 years, July 1st, sports fans celebrate the unusual contract where Bobby Bonilla is paid $1.2 million from the Mets because of this wording that was in this contract from the 1990s. It's a deferred salary arrangement, and it's been going on. The deferred part has started since July 1st of 2011 and will continue until 2035. So right now he's 12 years in. He's halfway through receiving 1.1. No, I mean not since. I mean, I'd have to do due diligence to find out exactly when he retired, but he was well retired by 2011.
That's a smart guy then.
Yeah,
I'd say.
It was a 5-year in. All right, look at this. Bonilla signed with the Mets a 5-year contract worth $29 million in 1991, but it was on a deferred basis. So, yeah, they're just writing him checks every July 1st till 2035. Soak it up, Bobby Bonilla. All right.
Wow, that's okay.
Couple comments, and then we're going to get out of here. Try to get out of here in under 90 minutes. Wade Farr says the Corn Day coming up at Werner Baseball Park, part of John's idea, even though it's not about Nebraska football.
Of course it is.
Okay. I like that. We're doing this rapid fire.
Thomas Corn Day, it's my idea.
Thomas Fedone says, besides me as a dad, thinking that Thomas Fedone will be that dark horse to help win over Minnesota, who all thinks this as well?
Well, I think it'd be neat.
I don't know.
You know what?
It'd be to verify that that's Thomas Fedone's father.
I don't think there is either.
Okay.
Maybe you can tell us about an identifying.
Be a very odd fake account to,
We're supposed to answer his question.
Okay. Carrie, sorry.
It would be particularly great if this happened because, like I said earlier about Minnesota, they have one of the best tight ends in the Big Ten in Span Ford. And, the same thing goes for Iowa. Who is it? Luke Leahy? I mean, that guy's one of the best tight ends. Iowa has tight ends. It would be really cool for Nebraska to have Thomas Fedone to actually just go out there and kick some ass and become like Gronk. That's the tight end guy I remember because he's Gronk. Yeah. Okay.
Fair.
Next.
All right. Next one. We were talking about how to make this a nonprofit, tax exempt. And yes. Fred says the Church of John Johnston. And on the 8th day, he sat up on the toilet and cried.
There will be no sitting on the toilet and crying this year.
No.
No, as we go 14-0.
15-0, you son bitch.
Oh, okay.
I think, 15-0. 12 regular season, conference championship, semifinal, national championship.
Okay.
I'm pulling up some deep cuts, coronation trivia here.
Oh my God.
All right. Let's see. Colin J says, pay Greg what you owe him, John. He's worth at least $50 per episode and a pack of zebra cakes. I'll tell you what, I mean, I'm a fat kid at heart. You can keep the $50 and just pass the zebra cakes.
What about kale?
No, God, what the hell? You trying to make me live longer?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you're the only one.
You need to live healthier. I have a whole gob of kale that nobody wants to eat.
I'm sorry.
I could ship it to you.
Do you save? Please don't. I'm trying to figure out how the hell we spelled that back in the day. All right.
It's Kale.
Not kale. I'm not looking up kale, you psychopath.
Wow. Okay.
Andrew Anderson said this, by the way, an hour and 21 minutes ago. John, have fun at the Minnesota game.
One way or another, I'm going to. If the law's involved, so be it.
How John, you'll know this better than me.
What?
Does Corn Nation, do they, what's the word I'm looking for? Do they delete things like in the archives, so to speak?
What do you mean?
Did
On the
at some
website?
point? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
They just
Uh,
they can make it very hard to find, though. I mean, it really can be very difficult to find. Why?
well, we have an interesting question here because
Oh,
we know that you're a Nebraska native who lives in Minnesota,
yeah.
and I'm an Illinois native who's back in Illinois but spent some time in Nebraska.
Okay.
And Colin J wants to know how we met.
Fuck if I know.
Did you heart attack and brain injury that one away?
Yeah, I did. I didn't have control over what went and what stayed, but I have no idea how we met.
All right. So what I was trying to find was
Probably a podcast.
yeah. I mean, thanks for cutting to it right away.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I got, as I mentioned, I met Brian Toll through a now defunct Husker website called Husker Locker, and I'm not keeping up with these new comments at all, so I apologize to everybody. When that went not belly up, I'm not trying to be overtly negative, but Brian found a landing spot here at Coronation, and I didn't. And Brian and I got along. He liked the cut of my jib or whatever, however that phrase goes. I hope that's not inappropriate. Shut up, Fred. I'm gonna get in front of it now. Shut up. And he eventually reached out to me and said, "Hey man, you want to, I'm over here at Coronation. Do you want to try to do a podcast?" And so I said, "Yeah, sure." And we started it, and I believe it was the 2012 season. And I don't know that because I Googled detasseling the Huskers, which is the name of this mailbag, Q&A show. And the first one that came out, I couldn't find episode 1, but episode 32 was June 12th, 2013. And there's a picture of Tim Miles on there for everybody who remembers him. So it was a Q&A show, primarily. We actually took a lot more time off in the off season than, we've been doing, in the last few years, both between here, the 5 Heart podcast, and this is really the first off season for Monday Night Therapy. But we were kind of hit and miss back in the day. And I missed those, especially as the off seasons went on. We took almost an entire off season off, for 5 Heart podcast, back in 2017, which I really am kind of upset about because that ended up being Brian's last offseason. But yeah, detasseling the Huskers and then kind of went away for a little while. Questions stopped coming in, in those late Pelini years and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, the detasseling the Huskers slowly kind of faded out, and then a little time off. And I think I wrote maybe 2 articles for the site in the meantime. And then Brian's like, man, I think I reached out to Brian. We got to get this thing going again. So, yeah, 5 Heart podcast started up, and I'm not saying this to pat myself on the back or anything. I've been doing the 5 Heart podcast since its inception. It started with Brian, and then it was Haas Reuter who was here when Brian got sick, and ultimately after his passing. And Haas and I did that for a long time, and then he had to grow up, so to speak, and finish off his masters, and he's working hard. I've kept in contact with Haas. We're still good friends, and he said he's going to try to join us for some shows here when the season begins. And then John, you kind of slid in there. For a long time we were the tripod, you, me, and Haas, and now it's you and me, and we're 2 legs trying not to fall over.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to be gone next week.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, well, Monday night, Todd will need help.
Probably. What are you trying to say? Oh, Monday night, I'm going to be gone. I'm going to be at the Cardinal game with my family.
Okay, well, somebody needs to make Todd do the show.
Okay. I don't know how we'll do that because I'm pretty sure we can have this conversation off air. This thing's going on.
I'm saying this to these people so that if he doesn't do the show, they all abuse the fuck out of him. Yeah. It's called incentive.
Yeah. Let's shame him. Shame.
Boo that man. Okay. Is anything else?
No, everybody's great. All is
Okay.
well.
All right. We're getting closer.
Here we go. I think you started this one, not me. Sam Roberts Golf says if we beat Minnesota, then we will win 10 games. If we lose, probably 6. Why did you highlight that, John? 15-0. 15-0.
I think that's very, I think that is how most Husker fans feel about the season.
I mean, that's fine. I'm not saying it's fine. I
don't know. Wade Farr says, so who gets the money? I get the money. There you go.
And after I lose a tooth, the tooth fairy will come, put a 5 spot under my pillow, pat me on the head, and I don't know where I was going with that. I apologize to everybody. That got super weird. All right. I think Tyler says be on the lookout for an email, John.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Welcome back, Tyler. Premature, but wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. That's it for this episode of the 5 Heart Podcast. Holy shit. And over an hour and a half. But we couldn't do it with that. Look, if nobody was here, this would have been a 25-minute show and it wouldn't be nearly as fun. So we couldn't do it without you. We appreciate everybody sticking around late into the night here. Now go be with your family or let me remind you, if you can't be with the one you love, then love the one you're with. And you take that however you need to.
Okay.
For this guy over here, nope. Let me try that. This guy over here, John Johnston. I'm Greg Mahochko. This is the 5 Heart Podcast, live exclusively on YouTube, and we really do appreciate you all. Thank you so much. And remember that 5 Heart is all the heart you need, and that's been the tagline since the very first episode.
Go Big Red.
Good night, everybody. You've earned it.
Night.